Good morning. It's Vlogmas day 13. I had to pull my paper chain down because it's so short. Here it is. There are 22 days left until Amsterdam. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Alright, think on that. Hey, it's paper chain time.
I need to get some.
I think it's Vlogmas day 15. I think. And we're cuddling on the couch to read our paper chain. I just brought it out here because it fell off the ceiling. We have just 3 weeks left until I go to Amsterdam. Oh, this is a long one. It's already been a long morning, little man. It does not matter how slow you go, as long as you do not stop. Confucius. What do you think about that?
Huh?
It doesn't matter how slow you go, as long as you do not stop. I don't think I bit it. All right, well, let's keep going. No stopping. Good morning. Happy Vlogmas day 15, I think. I've kind of lost count because we've kind of stopped doing Vlogmas, but we'll get back to it. This is our paper chain hanging from the ceiling now. There are 20. Did that even work? 20 days left until Amsterdam. So, what do we have to say today? I'm gonna eat you up is what I'm gonna do. Your heart knows the way. Run in that direction. And I didn't write who it was by. But that's a good one. Follow your heart. Everybody have a great day. Happy Vlogmas. Little man and I are going to bring you a bedtime story for our vlog today. Because, yeah, we're behind and we need to catch up. And this book is from the second printing in 1985. How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Little man got this for his 3rd birthday party present. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, Grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a mistletoe wreath. Why are you scared of the Grinch? Because he's grumpy? So's Oscar the Grouch, but you're not scared of him. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick! With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said. If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. What do you think about that? He made Max a reindeer. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up poor Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. The Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, "This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed on the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Whose stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums, and he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimbley. Then he slunk to the ice box. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that ice box as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove, when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who got out of bed for a cold cup of water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know, the old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it there, then I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, he got her a drink and sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and he stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing at the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a-snooze when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsels, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet. He rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. "Hoo-poo to the Who's," was his Grinchishly humming. "They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I knew just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo." "That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. It was a shocking surprise, huh? Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours, till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. The end.